Monsieur le Maire. Hi everyone, welcome back to Gavin Reads It All. In this video I will be reading Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I am definitely in the mood to read about sad lesbians. I'm kidding, I know this is not pronounced that way. It's Les Miserables. Les Mis. I will be referring to this as Les Mis in this video. And I've seen the movie. I've never seen the musical on its own, but I've seen the movie starring Anne Hathaway, Hugh Jackman, Amanda Seyfried, Russell Crowe. I've seen that. And I know the songs. I vaguely know the story. I only ever saw the movie once, maybe twice. I didn't love it. I thought it was good, but I didn't love it, and I do love some of the songs, I will say. But I know this is going to be totally different. Like, I can't go into this expecting the musical. I have to go into this expecting not the musical. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It has been a little while since I read a classic of this size. And from what I remember, this is set during a rebellion in Paris. And we follow Jean Valjean. And he is an ex-convict, and he is changing his life around. All the while there is that whole social and political backdrop to his story. And then we have Samantha Bach singing On My Own, pretending he's beside me. One of my favourite songs. So I have a mission with this one, okay? So I put this on my 25 books to read in 2025. Today is December 22nd, 2025. And we only have a week left. A week left of the year. And before the clock strikes 12 on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, I need to have this finished. I need to have this finished, not only for myself, but also for this lovely commenter who posted on one of my videos a couple of weeks back. If Gav reads Les Misérables by the end of the year, my boyfriend said he'd buy me a new bookshelf. So come on, Gav, you can do it. Well, thank you so much for that. I need the motivation. I really do. Are you seeing this? It's a brick. I am doing it for you. I'm doing it so your boyfriend will buy you a bookshelf. And I'm going to be a little bit sad as well when I finish this too, because I feel like a running gag on my channel this year has been the fact that people know I have Les Mis on my TBR and they're anticipating me actually reading it. I got this lovely comment during my Vlogs of Halloween event where I upload spooky videos in order to hype everyone up for the spooky season. And I got this comment saying, the scariest thing about this Vlogs of Halloween is remembering you still have Les Mis on your TBR and only until December to finish. LMAO. Let me tell you something, I've come into this vlog with a glass of jammy red roux and a dream. A dream in times gone by, you know what I mean? And this is going to get finished by the end of the year. And hey, I am into my I love classics. I love classics. I loved studying them at university. So it'll actually be really nice to try and at least use that English literature degree that made my parents so proud. Everyone in my life is like, how is your English literature degree helping you with doing your current career as a full-time YouTuber? And I'm like, it pays a debt. It pays a debt. I want to have to rewatch the musical now because there's so many quotes that I could use. How satisfying will it be when I finish Les Mis and that will be around 240 books read this year? Cinema. So we need to be tactical about tackling Les Miserables, and I need to break this down into pages. I think tackling it by a certain amount of pages each day will help me over the next week reading it. And in my edition of this, there are only 908 pages, but I do know a lot of editions of this have between 1,000 and 1,400 pages, so I feel a little bit shafted. Like, where have those 400 to 500 pages gone? But the text in this is tiny. It's tiny. And this book is split into smaller books, so I could have tackled it that way, but I do think doing the pages per day is going to help. So with 908 pages, over 10 days, I would need to read 90.8 pages a day, pretty much like 91 pages for the most of it, and then 89 pages on the last day, and then that will be done. That will be done on New Year's Eve, the very final day of 2025. So that sounds pretty reasonable, right? Today is Tuesday, December 23rd. I read nothing yesterday. The first day of this challenge, I have read zero. Zero! And it wasn't by choice. We're off to a cracking start, lads. So now my reading breakdown will have to change. I now need to read 100.9 pages a day, which essentially means I'll have to read 101 pages for the first 8 days and then 100 pages on the last day of 2025. I definitely did shaft myself by not picking this up yesterday. And I have reading sprints later today, so I am definitely now, as soon as I click stop record, I am going to sit my ass down and I'm actually going to start this. I promise. So if you end up enjoying this video, please do give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, use those channel high points as well if you've got any, and let's hope that Les Miserables will make me lay cheerful over the Christmas period.
One day more, another day, another day. destiny, this never-ending road to Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will surely come a second time one day more. I did not live until today. How can I live when we are parted? One day more. Tomorrow you'll be worlds away. And yet with you my world has started.
One more day all on my own.
Will we ever meet again?
One more day with him not caring.
I was born to be with you.
What a life I might have known.
And I swear I will be true.
But he never saw me there.
One more day before the storm. Do I follow where she goes?
At the barricades of freedom.
Shall I join my brothers
When our ranks
there?
begin to
Do I stay and do I
take
dare?
your place with me.
One day to revolution. We will nip it in the bud. We'll be ready for these schoolboys. They will wet themselves. One day more.
Watch him run and mark, catch him as they fall. Never know your luck when there's a free-fall rule. Here a little dip, here a little touch. Most of them are gone, so they won't miss much.
One day to a new beginning. Every man will be a king. You are for the wicked. Do you hear the people sing?
My place is here. I find with you. One day
Here a little dip, here a little touch.
One day
Watch him run and mark, catch him as they fall. Never know your luck when there's a free-fall rule.
Tomorrow isn't just dead. Tomorrow we'll discover what our God in heaven has in store. One more dawn, one more
Okay, first impressions. I am now 61 pages into Les Mis, and I'm actually really liking it so far. I thought I would struggle a little bit more. I think what helps with this book is that the chapters are incredibly short, and it is split into parts. The first part, or the first book, is called Fantine, who we have not yet met. So like Volume 1, Fantine, haven't met her yet. And I only just met Jean Valjean like 20 pages ago. Don't worry, I do start pronouncing Jean Valjean better and properly later on in the vlog. So we are in no rush whatsoever, introducing the characters who are going to stand out in this story. Predominantly what I've read so far is a bishop. A bishop who we have been introduced to, who feels, for me personally, like a vessel for like how we are supposed to view the social injustice and the poverty of this world, and also trying to dismantle some of those prejudices that we already have in our heads. There were so many times where I like underlined things and wanted to quote things because we had some great things said. So one of the things that the bishop said that really stood out to me, and I do love it when I read a classic where I can pinpoint what we're going to do with the themes with just a single quote, so I can apply this to how we explore themes through the characters coming up. So the bishop says the faults of women, of children, of the feeble, the indigent and the ignorant are the fault of the husbands, the fathers, the masters, the strong, the rich and the wise. Teach those who are ignorant as many things as possible. Society is culpable in that it does not afford instruction gratis. It is responsible for the night which it produces. The soul is full of shadow. Sin is therein committed. And this is the line. This is the moneymaker right here. The guilty one is not the person who has committed the sin, but the person who has created the shadow. Oh, honestly, as soon as I read that, I was like, okay, now I'm going to see like how all of these character decisions coming up and how they are condemned by society. Like, what is the real reason behind it? What is at fault? Who is at fault? And are the circumstances that they are in, are they forced into it? So it definitely feels like that is going to be the main exploration of it because, you know, we have this amazing section with the bishop and I've learned so much through like how we are perceiving society and all of that. So when we meet Jean Valjean, when he comes into it, he is a victim of, you know, his own upbringing, of his circumstances. And he was locked up for 19 years in the galley because he tried to steal a loaf of bread for his sister's 7 children. Bit of a tragic backstory there, a bit of a tragic life. And a lot of it is the poverty that was enforced on him and his sibling and the early death of his parents and things like that. So many things conspire against Jean Valjean and his own person. And so I am really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying the exploration into who is at fault here. And what Jean Valjean did, he was forced into doing something like that because of the world around him, and yet the world around him punished him for it. He has lost 19 years of his life, and it's just so heartbreaking. It's so sad, like hearing about his upbringing and what he's gone through so far, seeing the kindness that the bishop shows him. Oh, and yeah, this vlog is going to be filled with spoilers, by the way. I just thought I'd give you a heads up. When he is turned away by so many people, Jean Valjean, when he's turned away by so many people in the village he comes to, it is so heartbreaking. And at first I couldn't remember what he did, because I only remember certain parts of the movie and I don't really know a whole lot of like what is the same and what is different from the book. So I was like, okay, what did he do? Because he's been turned away. They're talking about him as if he is committed the greatest evil under the sun. And even children throw stones at him. And, you know, I was like, what has he actually done to deserve this? Because this is actually, like, so upsetting. The way that everyone just, like, turns him away. And this is what I love. Like, I'm not going to talk too much because I feel like this vlog would end up being, like, 15 hours long. But, like, when we see what Jean Valjean is forced to do because of the people around him, it's like, oh, you don't want Jean Valjean to be an evil person or to do evil acts. And yet how you're treating him is not very kind. And he will then become a product of what you resent because of your actions. Your actions, when you are turning him away, and like, you know, he is an ex-convict and that will elicit some fear in some people's hearts, absolutely, but to treat him that way is so upsetting. And again, heartbroken when he tries to find somewhere to sleep and he comes across a dog's kennel and even the dog kicks him out and he says, I am not even a dog. Like, the way that he is treated by even the animals in this world is less than an animal. And when you go back in time and you see what he did, he was just trying to feed 7 hungry children. 19 years. I mean, he did try and escape a few times and that added time on because he was only given 5 years to begin with. So like, but like, again, he is put in a position, in a place where it is so awful that the idea of escape is so beautiful to him, you know? Like, he's forced into these positions and then he's penalized for it. It's unjust. It is so unjust. In the entire massive section, like the first like 40 pages with the bishop was really great at highlighting that. The bishop is looking at the phantom of social justice and it torments him because social justice is cruel and it's wicked. He's asking for people to have pity on those who are poor, those who are looked down upon by those who have been more favoured by society. And so all it took when Jean Valjean ends up getting welcomed in by the bishop, all it took was that one act of kindness. And now we're going to see how Jean Valjean changes his life around, how he can also touch other people with his kindness and how that act can just inspire more kindness to one another. And, you know, that is just like such a beautiful story already. So I'm seeing everything that he's putting down. Really enjoyed a lot of the stuff with the bishop, even though, yes, there was a lot of waffle. I will say there was a lot of waffle and not everything went in. Absolutely not everything went in. And I'm not really that well versed with French history. I only know like the very basics. And even then, I'm talking like sub-basic. I don't even think I know that much. But even then, I'm not really feeling too lost. And now that, yeah, we've got Jean Valjean, and he's in the story now, and I do apologize if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong, I am definitely more invested. I'm so invested, and I'm already invested. I'm 60 pages in, and it's going to make it that much more easier to get through, I think, because I was intimidated. I was scared. I was genuinely so scared picking this book up. I was excited, definitely, because I love the idea of a challenge. I love the idea of a massive classic that I can tackle, but it is also very intimidating. But I don't feel that intimidated anymore. I'm actually very excited to continue on and get more of this read. So I do have reading sprints in like 10 minutes. I'm doing those with my channel members, so if you'd like to join my channel membership, link down below. Oh, 7 minutes. So I better go and get set up actually, because I haven't even like set up the computer or anything. So I'm hoping to reach page 101 by tonight. Fingers crossed. Oh, I love this man. I love the bishop so much. Jean Valjean has like stolen, I'm probably saying his name wrong, I do apologize, but like he's stolen the silver from the bishop, and he gets caught, he gets brought back, and the bishop is like, oh, you forgot to take the candlesticks. Here you go. What? And he gets the men to let Jean Valjean go. Oh, he's such a lovely man. My friend, before you go here, your candlesticks, take them. Do not forget, never forget that you have promised to use this money in becoming an honest man. And Jean Valjean is like, I don't remember making that promise. What are you talking about? Jean Valjean, my brother, you no longer belong to evil but to good. It is your soul that I buy from you. I withdraw from black thoughts and the spirit of perdition, and I give it to God. Oh, look at this bishop is too good for the world. If anything happens to him, if anything happens to this bishop, I will a riot. Monsieur le Maire. Okay, end of the first official day of my reading Les Mis update. I've just finished my reading sprints, and I am so happy to report that I have actually read 133 pages of this book in the first day, like the first proper day. I do not count yesterday. Okay, this is my first official day, and I read 133 pages. I smashed it. I was only aiming for 101, but hey, I didn't actually want to put this down, and I don't want to put this down. I am really enjoying it. In terms of my reading progress though, I only need to now read around 97 pages per day to get this finished on New Year's Eve. And I am still a little bit worried that I'll get nothing read on Christmas Day, but we will see. I love the fact that I did overachieve today, and I might overachieve tomorrow, depending. But guys, I'm getting so angry I feel so angry. Fantine, I am so heartbroken over like how much Fantine is working herself to an early death, trying to provide for Cosette. Oh my gosh, like again, I've seen the movie. I know what happens. But oh, I was devastated seeing the fall, the descent of Fantine. You can see the light just start to leave her eyes. She starts to feel resentful towards people. She is a beautiful young girl. Like, she is still a girl when all of these things are happening to her. And it's just devastating seeing what she is doing in order to provide for her Cosette. Those arseholes who are looking after Cosette. What are their names again? Thénardier? Them? Oh my gosh. It's making me that much more angry seeing what they're doing, how they're using their money for everything but Cosette. Like the money that Fantine is killing herself over trying to provide for her. I mean, her locks, her hair, cut it off. When she has to give up her teeth, that, oh my gosh, devastating. Yeah, right after she gets the teeth out, and it says, after all, it was a ruse of the Thénardiers to obtain money. Cosette was not ill. Oh, I hate them so much. I love the way that this is narrated, by the way. It's literally like the narrator is speaking to us directly. They're giving us all this information and telling us this story. And it feels like they're personally telling me this story. She had no longer a bed, a rag which she called her coverlet, a mattress on the floor, and a seatless chair still remained. Like, she has nothing. She literally has nothing. And then he says that he must have 100 francs at once. And then Fantine asks, but in what trade can one earn 100 sous a day? And Marguerite, who was the one who was with Fantine, she says, come, said she, let us sell what is left. The unfortunate girl became a woman of the town. Literally, she has nothing. Fantine has nothing but herself. And when they're saying, oh, let's sell what you have left, literally, her body, that's all she has is her body. This society, the way that she's been worked into the ground, the poor working conditions, everything has meant that she has no possession over herself anymore. She has sold her soul over to the corporations, to working for nothing. I believe there was a quote in this as well. I've underlined so much, but I don't have. I probably should. Helps keep things in check. But there was something about like selling your soul for a slice of bread or something like the crumbs of bread. The amount of work that they're putting in to receive barely anything back. All of these working people, all of these poor people in these working conditions, they're getting nothing, absolutely nothing. And they're just slowly dying. It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. So I already know I love the characters. I know I already feel for them. Well, most of them. Again, can't stand the people who are currently looking after Cosette. And the fact that Fantine is like dying right now because of the snow to her back, which actually I was a little bit surprised by. But yeah, she's lying down. She just wants to see her Cosette. And the way that she feels so, you know, like happy about the idea of seeing her Cosette. She's missed her. She's doing all of this for her. And it could really help her to see her daughter. I could strangle those titty tomanos. Oh, I could strangle them. I could strangle them. Oh, I also met Javert. Javert, I think it's pronounced. Javert. And I love the analogy as well about how whenever there's like a litter of pups, the mother pup will always kill one of them because they know that they're going to grow up to kill the others. That is Javert. You know what? I really butchered that. Let's see if I can find it. I was born to be with you. Oh, the injustice of it all. I'm rereading so much of this. Oh, here it is. The peasants of Asturias are convinced that in every litter of wolves there is one dog, which is killed by the mother because otherwise, as he grew up, he would devour the other little ones. Give to this dog son of a wolf a human face, and the result was Javert. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. He would not give mercy on Fantine as well. Like, he was a dick. And then also, he recognizes Jean Valjean. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. You know what? After this update, I'm going to look up pronunciations for all the characters. I will learn them. But Hugh Jackman, he is now a mayor, I think. I'm pretty sure he is. He's the one who's Monsieur le Maire. That's him. And Javert recognizes him as an ex-convict. And oh my god, I was tense because I couldn't remember how that interaction went. But it seems like things may be going in Jean Valjean. It's going his way. It's going his way at the minute. And he seems to have really turned a corner. I do believe that is him. I do believe it is him. In the way that the bishop died. The bishop died. I mean, it was a natural death, I believe. But he died. Oh, the poor man. Like, He was the best. He was the absolute best. I loved him. I loved him so much. Oh, I just know he is in heaven and he is reaping the rewards of being such a lovely bloody dude. But yeah, I do believe that the mayor, Monsieur le Maire, is Jean Valjean, I think. Well, yeah, no, he definitely is, because I'm remembering the movie and I know he's the one who looks after Fantine, even though Fantine spits in his face. And I was like, you know what, you go, girl. Even though it wasn't Jean Valjean's fault, but I can understand why she would blame him. It is the people in power. It is these power dynamics and stuff that has just continued to oppress Fantine and wear her down to practically nothing, to the point where the only thing she has left to give is her body. Oh, but yeah, really, really enjoying this still, like really enjoying it. But I know what's going to come with Fantine and I just want it to change. There was a time when men were kind. I have not been able to fall asleep. It is currently 4:22 a.m. There was a helicopter flying up around about 2:30 and I just couldn't sleep. I could not sleep. I lay in bed for 3 hours, nearly 4 hours, could not sleep. So, despite it being 4 a.m., I'm going to continue reading Les Mis. Maybe it was Fantine. Maybe I was too scared to dream of Fantine. I think I was too scared to dream of Fantine, so I just decided not to sleep at all, apparently. It has been a full 14 hours since I decided to give up on sleep, and I didn't really get a whole lot of Les Mis read after that. I mean, in and out of a few power naps on this Christmas Eve. I feel so all over the place, let me tell you. But I've made myself a late night decaf, coffee, cinnamon roll, oat milk, cappuccino, ready to give you my daily progress update and go to bed. And I did read all of the Waterloo sections, by the way. Oh my gosh, that made today even harder. But my reading progress today, I did read a total of 101 pages, which is just a little bit above my daily goal. So I'm so glad that we are on track pretty much, because I'm so worried about tomorrow being Christmas Day. I'm so worried I'm going to get like nothing or barely anything read. So glad that we've made up for it a little bit over the last 2 days. It does mean I have 674 pages left with a goal of 96.3 pages a day. I still feel like that is doable though. We're still in the game. Oh, I read this section where Fantine died. Oh, I was so upset. I was so delirious from lack of sleep. And I was just absolutely sobbing sobbing. The way it happens as well, it's so quick and so sudden. And I was getting so angry again, so angry and frustrated that no one was getting Cosette. And then when Jean Valjean, and I think that is how you pronounce his name, Jean Valjean, when he tries to get Cosette and he's going through all of these obstacles and he's got this horse and he runs into trouble with a wheel on the way there, and then he runs into a couple of wheelwrights, I think they're called, and they're like, oh, you know, you're gonna have to, you know, put this into repair, it'll take a day and stuff. I was just like, can we please just get the fucking child? Oh my god, I was getting so wound up. And then Fantine is lying in her deathbed and she is so elated and so happy at the prospect of seeing her child, and she never gets to reunite with her child. It's genuinely so upsetting. I was heartbroken, and again, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't realize how quickly it would happen though. She hits her head off the headboard and she just dies. Page 184 in mine. Friggin' Javert, when I see him, I blame him. I'm blaming him for all of this. Fantine thinks that her child is there because she can hear her laughter outside. It's not Cosette outside though, but she's like, I recognize that voice. It's Cosette. She's here and I'm going to see her soon. Oh. But then she overhears Monsieur le Maire say, give me 3 days to get this child. And he says that to Javert, who was like trying to arrest him. Oh, and Fantine is like, my child? To go and fetch my child? She's not here then? Answer me, sister. Where is Cosette? I want my child. Fantine raised herself in bed with a bound, supporting herself on her stiffened arms and on both hands. She gazed at Jean Valjean. She gazed at Javert. She gazed at the nun. She opened her mouth as though to speak. A row proceeded from the depths of her throat. Her teeth chattered. Oh, I can just picture that cry, that scream. She stretched out her arms in her agony, opening her hands convulsively and fumbling about her like a drowning person, then suddenly fell back on her pillow. Her head struck the headboard of the bed and fell forwards on her breast with gaping mouth and staring sightless eyes. She was dead. It did look like she was getting better as well. It looked like she was improving with the prospect of seeing Cosette. She was like, I'm happy. Things are okay. I'm going to be okay. And then she finds out Cosette isn't actually there. And oh my god. When I catch those people who are looking after Cosette, when I catch... in Javert as well, I am so devastated. Devastated. And why in the world, Jean Valjean, why did you tell them who you are in that courtroom? Why? It just made everything worse. Oh, although, right, so I read all the Waterloo sections, right? Okay, I obviously didn't take a whole lot of it in because I was... like, not exactly bored. I did find a lot of it interesting because, again, like, I don't know that much about, like, the Battle of Waterloo and things that led to, like, the French Revolution and the battles in France and stuff. Like, it is fascinating on paper, but because of the way it's taught in this, it felt almost like a history lesson and it felt a little bit boring and tedious to read. I don't think I will ever reread the section. So if you want to know, it is literally in Volume 2, Cosette, in Book 1st, Waterloo. It's like this entire section. In my edition, it's 191 to 225. I feel like probably the main important thing happened at the very end when Thénardier saves Pontmercy. And I feel like that is probably like maybe the most important thing. But I mean, it does add a lot of context. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure it is important. And Victor Hugo put it in there for a reason. I'm sure it's all important. And it did paint a vivid picture in my head of what's at stake and the political backdrop that is happening. And yeah, I totally understand that. I totally get that. But yeah, it was just, I feel like it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience reading that whole massive section because I was fighting for my life reading it. And I think it's because, yeah, it isn't really focused on character too much. I am falling in love with the characters in this story. And when I am pulled away from them for so long, I mean, it's only like, what, like 30 to 40 pages, but the text in this is really small, so really that's like 60 to 70 pages, really. It just takes away from my main enjoyment because I'm enjoying this for the characters and seeing how they struggle and try to survive in this world. And after the devastation of Fantine, and I just wanted Cosette to reunite with her. It's just, yeah, and I wanted Jean Valjean to also have some kind of happiness too. I doubt there's going to be very much happiness with a title like this. So the last part that I read was Jean Valjean being announced to be dead because he is now a convict again. He was prisoner number 9430. And we had this whole section of him in book second, after the whole Waterloo section, of like what he's up to. What he's up to, and it honestly sounds devastating. The amount of great progress that he made, the amount of good that he did, it even says in this part as well about like how a lot of that was just erased. All those years of good work and kindness and stuff just kind of seemed to dissipate. It honestly felt unfair how he did so much for so many people and to just have that washed away because of the whole like ex-convict thing. And I'm just like, oh, I argue he did nothing wrong. And is it not better to have somebody who is reformed and is a good person now? Like, why are we continuously bashing him and bringing him down just because of his past? But that is this society. That's the system. That is the justice system at play. The justice system at play. He did way more good and he helped more people after his life as a convict, and they're continuously trying to make him a convict again. You know, like, let him be, let him live. But no, they keep bringing him back. But now, actually, it looks like he died. I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's dead, unless the book completely goes different to the musical. I'm still very excited to continue reading this. Like, you have no idea, I'm so excited. When I logged this into Pagebound and Storygraph, it says I'm exactly 25% of the way through. So hey, we're a quarter of the way through. I'm still gripped. This book has gripped me by the Fantine, and I'm going to put it down. For now, for Christmas, I'm just going to put it down. Maybe I will read more of this tomorrow on Christmas. Or should I say Lesmas? Happy Lesmas to you, if you celebrate. And I'm hoping I don't lose too much progress tomorrow. I am so happy because my mum got me a new coffee machine for Christmas and I freaking love it. I freaking love it so far. I'm still learning the ropes, but this is going to help me with the rest of this year in getting through Les Mis. I have actually read quite a fair bit since yesterday. So yesterday was Christmas and it is December 26th, Boxing Day. And I'm going to tell you all my progress from yesterday. But I just want to make a coffee. I wanted to show you guys my new coffee machine. It does have like a coffee granule thing, but I always use the same already like grounded coffee. So I'm just going to like continue using that. And yeah, I'm still like learning the ropes on like how to make it hotter and the best settings to use. Oh, and I also, on Christmas Eve, after I finished my daily progress of Les Mis, I watched the... like it was like a recording of Les Misérables from a few years ago. It was on Amazon Prime and I watched most of that. I was dipping in and out as I was sorting the house out, but it was good. I liked it. I didn't remember half of the songs, to be honest. Oh my god. Oh, got my Spy Family mug espresso. And I just love how it does the milk. Like, this is so handy. So freaking handy. Just star froth. Done. And there we have... oh gosh. Not very aesthetic, I've spilled it. It's fine. This is a beautiful, fresh looking cappuccino. Oh my god. Gorgeous. The fact that I read quite a bit of this on Christmas, and Christmas was mentioned in this. There was some section that was set on Christmas. So, you know, like the concept of reading Les Mis on Christmas Day, oh, it just came to me like a stroke of genius. Just like it was putting Les Mis on my 25 books to read in 2025 priority list. Stroke of genius. But I was worried that I wouldn't get much read on Christmas Day. So today is December 26th. Yesterday, I didn't vlog or anything, but I did read. Do you want to know how much I read? I read 126 pages yesterday. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So I did obviously do the family Christmas and I was home by like 3 p.m. So I had the rest of the day to just like sit down and read because there was nothing else I really wanted to do. So now the progress is that I have 548 pages left, which means I need to read at least 91.3 pages a day to finish this book on New Year's Eve. So the amount of pages I need to read per day is slowly coming back down. But yeah, I was kind of all Christmased out yesterday, so I didn't really want to do anything festive after I got home from being at my mum's. So I was just like, you know what, let's lock in and read. And one of the reasons why I read so much was because I was at the section where Cosette was getting like just abused by the Thénardiers, and I was getting myself so angry and upset, and I was like, I need to read how she gets out of this situation ASAP. I did not want to continue reading how awful her life was. Like, they were awful to her, like so bad, making her go to the well to get water in the middle of the night when it's dark and cold, and beating her and not giving her dolls to play with, and she has to watch those two little brats play. Oh my gosh, like she even fashioned a doll out of a sword just so she had something to play with. Oh my god, Jean Valjean, by the time he finally got to Cosette, oh, I was punching the air. Like, I was genuinely so happy I could have burst. Like, when he showed Thénardier the letter from Fantine, oh my god, that was just like my moment where I was like, we are winning. Like, we are back now. We are back, bitches. But obviously, I know not everything goes like to plan and stuff, but I just needed Cosette out of there. I needed her to be happy when the stranger, aka, I mean, I knew it was Jean Valjean the entire time, but I feel like if I hadn't seen the movie or like the musical before this, I still think I would have thought that was Jean Valjean, because the way that he gets an electric shock when he hears Cosette's name, it's like, oh my gosh, we have been waiting for this moment for months, and I was pulling my hair out just thinking, why are we delaying this? Why are we taking so long to get to Cosette? And like, obviously so much was in the way. Like, there's just so many barriers and roadblocks in the way of getting Cosette, to the point where Fantine died before she got to see her child again, which I'll never get over. But to see the stranger show her kindness, and she doesn't even like realize what kindness is to her, essentially. And he gives her the doll, and she's like so shocked by the fact that he gave her a doll. And she even has to go to Madame Thénardier and be like, can I play? And she's like, yes, you can play. Like, the fact that she is so bewildered by that, oh, again, like, broke my heart to little bits. Oh, and they didn't even put money in her shoe. You know, and she even had her really bad, was it like a kind of like wooden shoe or something? And Eponine and the other one, they had their shoes and they had money in it, which obviously like the Thénardiers did, but like nothing in Cosette's. And then when the stranger saw that, he put money in her shoe. Oh my god, like oh god, I was so glad that Jean Valjean finally saved her. And I really do think that this shows like the rehabilitation of someone who, even then, I don't even think Jean Valjean needed rehabilitated, because he only stole freaking bread to feed starving children. But I think society and the way that they view people, and obviously there's different scales of crimes. Like, I wouldn't want a murderer or a rapist to be back in the wild with people, you know what I mean? But like, for little crimes where they're forced to do something really like crime related, like stealing bread to feed someone, all of those crimes are because those people are desperate, you know, like those are desperate acts from desperate people. And so we see the kindness and like the amazing things that humans can do for one another if they are given a chance. And Jean Valjean, like, he deserves that chance, and he has had that chance, and he's had it taken away from him again when he got arrested. And freaking have it, why is he not letting him alone? He needs to get a real job, because I'm sick to death of saying Javert. And I'm just like, finally, he saved Cosette. Jean Valjean has saved Cosette, and they're finally going to have a nice life. And then Javert just like comes out of nowhere. And like, leave the people alone. Nobody wants to hear. Oh, I was getting so frustrated because I was just, I just want them to be happy. I need them to be happy. But yeah, going back to my point about like kindness and showing kindness, one of the things that Jean Valjean did years ago when he saved that man from being crushed by the cart thing, and that was something that Jean Valjean had to wrestle with because Javert was right there and he was probably going to get caught, and so he still saved this man despite risking his exposure. And now it's come back because he's met this man again. What was his name? Fauchelevent, maybe. He has come back into it, and he recognizes Monsieur le Maire, and he shows him kindness back. Like, he repays his kindness by helping Jean Valjean and Cosette. So like, it just shows you as well like the threads of like, you know, a kind act coming back to help you later on, just like, you know, doing bad things can bite you in the butt later on. Well, the same can be said about showing people kindness and doing kind acts for other people. So I love that. And another point about giving people a chance, we have Jean Valjean teaching Cosette. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for him, Cosette would still be abused by the Thénardiers. So he is undertaken to teach her to read. Sometimes, as he made the child spell, he remembered that it was the idea of doing evil that he had learned to read in prison. This idea had ended in teaching the child to read. Then the ex-convict smiled with the pensive smile of the angels. To teach Cosette to read and to let her play, this constituted nearly the whole of Jean Valjean's existence. And then he talked of her mother and he made her pray. So, like, this shows you, like, he was in the worst situation ever, being locked up in prison, but he learned from that, and they taught him while he was there. He learned to read and spell, and now he's teaching someone else that. And it was that initial, you know, being locked up because he was stealing bread for children that got him to this place. And I'm like, oh my god, the moral threads that have led us to this point. And but even before this, I was devastated by the sign. Jean Valjean clasped her tiny red hand, all cracked with chilblains, and kissed it. The poor child, who was used to being beaten, did not know the meaning of this and ran away in confusion. She ran away from a kiss on the hand because she is not used to that. She's only used to being beaten and treated the way she... Oh my gosh. Oh. Cosette, get behind me. Seriously, I will protect her too. I feel so much for these characters, like, genuinely. And I didn't love the massive tangents about the convents. I understand the purpose. I understand the importance of having, you know, all of these backdrops of things, you know, like with all of the battles of Waterloo and the talks of the battles, the 19 chapters of explaining all of that. I get to explain the political landscape and in the world that we're in. Same with the convent and all of that talk about the convent and the run-ins of it and all of that. It's a lot. It is a lot to take in. And if I was to ever reread Les Mis, I would just probably skip over all of that. I wouldn't recommend skipping it on a first-time read because I do feel like it does help to enhance, you know, people's situations and the situations that our characters are in. And it helps me understand history. It helps me understand the context of the time. So, like, it is there for a reason. I understand. I just don't personally enjoy it. So, like, I'm reading for the characters 100% because I love them. I feel for them. I want them to win. I want them to live. Apart from the ones I hate, Javert, the Thénardiers, I hope they all get justice. I hope they all get their comeuppance. But I also know that Javert is doing things because he feels like he is in the right. He's doing it because he is exacting justice, at least in the context of what society and what government and, you know, the laws deem as justice. I understand he is playing that role. So, like, he isn't really doing anything bad to the letter of the law, but, like, we know he is. We know he is. Just leave that poor man alone. But he does think that he's stolen and kidnapped a child because of the fucking Thénardiers being stupid. So I get it. There's a weird part of me that understands Javert, but I don't like him. I don't like him. Anyway, that is my little update from all of that reading yesterday. I did finish volume 2 Cosette, so now I'm on volume 3, Marius. I have no live shows, no nothing today. It is Boxing Day, so it is going to be a very chilled one. So again, I might end up blasting through so much of this. And at the minute, there's nothing really else I kind of want to do. I'm just like loving my time reading this, and I do love it when I can delve into a classic. I think it reminds me how to experience literature and not just consume it, because I do feel like I fall into the trap sometimes of just consuming literature for reading vlogs. And don't get me wrong, like, I read because I love it so much, but there is that trap as well of being a full-time booktuber where I do make content and I have to make content in order to live, in order to get, you know, ad revenue and stuff like that. So I need to do it. But it's nice to just be able to like sit down and just like take a book fully in. And I think it's so much better doing that with classics because they do challenge you a little bit more as a reader. And it reminds me why I love reading. I love the engagement of it. And yeah, I mean, you can absolutely still get that from current day books, of course, but there's just something different about classics. Okay, like, I do love reading them. I don't read them as often as I should, but I do absolutely love reading them. So, eek, I'm excited to get back into it. It is now Saturday, the 27th of December. I have members only reading sprints in 20 minutes, and I have my Tobu sitting next to me as well to keep me company, and I have made my final coffee of the day, so I'm ready to sit down, relax, read more Les Misérables. I also thought I would sit down here in the living room today and read and sprint from here, so I brought my Mac down. But I'm on page 515 of Les Mis. I did finish part 3, Marius, and yeah, I just read like a heck ton yesterday. So in total, I read 154 pages yesterday, which means I have 394 pages left, and I need to try and aim for 78.8 pages a day. So again, like, we have brought that right down, And yeah, I feel like maybe we could even finish it before New Year's Eve at this rate. 154 pages yesterday. Like, that's the most I've read so far. And I just wanted to finish the entire book of Marius, and I'm not gonna lie, it was probably like my least favorite part of the story so far. I was not really vibing with so much of Marius's story. I did like the parallel with like the death of his father, and he wasn't able to reach him in time, and I like how some of the things that happened to Waterloo have come back as well, with, you know, Marius's dad getting saved by Thénardier and all of the conveniences. Like, how small is France? How small is it? Like, how is it that everyone that we know is pretty much in the one place? We've seen the amount of times Jean Valjean has changed his name, changed where he lived, and still Javert finds him, the Thénardiers find him, and even Marius as well, just so happens to be right next door to all of this as well. It's so convenient. It's slightly comical at this point. But yeah, like with Marius, I just don't really feel like I like him all that much as a character. I feel like he's been like rather passive so far. I do feel bad for him because he has tasted what being poor has been like, and he is a little bit all over the place. Like, I can't really quite follow him too much because he seems to be just like a little bit of everywhere. You know, he's with the revolutionaries, he is, you know, looking at this girl from across the way who I believe is Cosette. He's seen her for the first time and he's absolutely utterly obsessed with her. And then I feel like for the good majority of this, like a lot of this is like history on Marius's family and stuff like that, and we see Marius himself as he is growing up, but I don't really love him all that much so far anyway. I might change my mind moving forward, but the part that I did like in this was the chapter called The Trap. And yeah, pretty much everything happened in that chapter. We had the Thénardiers catch up with Jean Valjean, and they demand more money, and it's very exciting. It's a really exciting scene, and all the while Marius is listening in, like he can hear everything that's happening, and he is now conflicted because he realizes that Thénardier is the person who saved his dad at Waterloo, and yet he doesn't really do anything in that moment because he's like so conflicted. He's seeing this like man getting tortured and interrogated by Thénardier and his wife and some of their ruffians. He doesn't really do too much in the way of like intervening. Like, we do get the police involved, we do get Javert get involved, and yeah, Javert as well amongst all of this. He also comes in, and yeah, I'm just like, how are we all in the one place? How is every single character, well, not every single one, but like how are most of the main characters just all in the one place now? It has been years, and I'm finding it hard to believe, but no, I really enjoyed the Trap chapter, but that was probably like the only section that I enjoyed in Marius's section. So I just read the entire section yesterday because I just kind of wanted it to be over and done with. I kind of felt, even at the start of the section, that this would not be the section for me. You know, we don't have Jean Valjean as our main character, we don't have Cosette as our main character, and I didn't find it as interesting without them. And yeah, like, how many alter egos, how many names is Jean Valjean gonna have? So I am getting like a little bit mixed up and a little bit confused with all of the characters at this point too. There's just so many, and some of them have different names. It's so interesting to try and keep track of all of that, but it's also very easy to get lost with that too. So that's what I'm kind of struggling with a little bit at the minute, is wrap my head around all of the characters and what's been going on. And also just like the fact that I think the story did slow down relatively quickly until it picked back up again with The Trap. So yeah, I've read this much, I have this much left. I have 2 volumes to go. The volume I'm on now is volume 4, Saint Denis, The Idol in the Rue Plummet, and The Epic in the Rue Saint Denis. So I do doubt that I'll finish volume 4 today in the sprints. Volume 4 is like, it's over 200 pages long, volume 4. There's definitely no way I'm getting all of that read and on sprints, but I would be happy to maybe reach page 650 potentially today. But yeah, I'm sorry, like, there wasn't really like too much about Marius's parts that I felt like I wanted to dissect or dive into like too much more. I just didn't connect as much as I did in the first 2 volumes, so hopefully volume 4 turns this around. Hopefully I get my like excitement back, because after Marius's section, I do feel it waning just a little bit, but there's nothing a lovely homemade coffee can't fix. Oh my gosh, the full body chills I'm getting from this section, section 4, St. Denis. Firstly, my progress yesterday during sprints, I did phenomenally again, and I'm so shocked and surprised how much I read. I'm also listening to the audiobook as I'm reading physically, and that's kind of helping as well to keep focused, especially when the cats are distracting me. And also, like, kind of character names and pronunciations, I'm still most likely going to get some wrong, but it helps. But I am now on page 699. 699. I haven't quite finished volume 4 as I thought, but I'm so close to finishing volume 4. Everything is happening right now. Shit has hit the fan. So yesterday I did read 185 pages during reading sprints, which is the most I've read in a single day, which honestly blows my mind. So that means I have 209 pages left, and I need to aim for 52.3 pages a day to finish by New Year's Eve. I think I'm going to end up finishing this potentially tomorrow. Today is Sunday. I do have a true crime and wine night later on today in about like 5 hours. So I won't be able to get as much read, but I will still make a good chunk. I'm aiming for maybe 100 pages today and then 109 pages tomorrow. And then we can be done. We can be done in just under a week. Wow. I've impressed myself. Watch it go tits up now. Anyway, yes, I mean, definitely still a lot of faults. Definitely a lot of tangents. But saying that, I do understand why these tangents come into it. But there's just so many history lessons. There was even like this random ass long section about slang. Slang! And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone complain about the slang section before, but damn, there was a lot. But yeah, there was like lots of stuff to do with like insurrections and riots, which it is important. You know, like now we have barricades popping up all over the city, and how terrifying this is. Nothing is more extraordinary than the first breaking out of a riot. Everything bursts forth everywhere at once. Like I'm feeling how chaotic and, you know, like how much bigger this is than just the characters that we've been following. Like they're just like parts of it. They're just certain parts of it. And yeah, I do love being able to follow them. They're the way in for me as a modern day reader, you know, being able to connect to these characters and feel for them before all of this is like really going on. But look how terrifying it is. Like, but yeah, all the barricades coming up, all that we are here relating slowly and successfully took place simultaneously at all points of the city in the midst of a vast tumult, like a massive tongues of lightning in one clap of thunder. In less than an hour, 27 barricades sprang out of the earth in the quarter of the halls alone. Hallis, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, less than 3 hours, like a train of powder catching fire, the insurgents have invaded and occupied. The Paris was in the hands of the rioters. But there was like a more recent example that I just read, because we are really feeling it like ramping up. I'm genuinely terrified. Like literally the last part that I read, I'm currently on this page. The last part I read is in chapter 2, Nell's view of Paris, a wild darkness full of traps, full of unseen and formidable shocks, in which it was alarming to penetrate, and in which it was terrible to remain, where those who entered shivered before those whom they awaited, where those who waited shuddered before those who were coming. Invisible combatants were entrenched at every corner of the street, snares of the sepulchre concealed in the density of night. I feel like every single time I try to pronounce something, I might come across as a little bit, like, not as intellectual as other people. Look, I'm reading for fun. All was over, no more light was to be hoped for henceforth, except for lightning of guns, no further encounter except the abrupt and rapid apparition of death. Where, how, when, no one knew, but it was certain and inevitable. Oh, like, honestly, it's definitely, like, when I read the Marius section, I was starting to get a little bit bored, I'm not gonna lie. I was starting to feel myself not really love Les Mis, but we are back. We are so back, bitches. Like, do you hear the people sing right now? Oh my god, I was about to pick up my fake candle and drink that. Oh, I need this. This is my third coffee of the day and I still haven't even friggin' started reading. I'm just like in a part where I'm like, this is gonna tear me apart, I just know it. And I've met Gavroche as well. Love the fact that his name is Gavroche, my name is Gavin. I just feel like, you know. But yeah, they are one of Thénardier's sons, who was like neglected and had a miserable life. Still a child though, still a child. And oh, my heart broke. Like the fact that children are getting involved when Gavroche asks for a gun and the guy says, oh, well, when there's enough guns for the adults, we'll give them to children too, or something like that. I was like, oh my God, like this is intense. Like the fact that children are involved shows you the massive tragedy that's going on in this section at least. So yeah, all of that's happening now. Oh my gosh, that freaking letter that Marius leaves Cosette, I'm telling you, I find him weird. I do. I find him weird. It's very stalker behavior, for one. Like, I know it's supposed to be romantic. Like, the way that this is written and the time period it's in, I know it's supposed to be romantic. I get it. But by George, the way that he goes on about Cosette, the way that she goes on about him, and I love Cosette, absolutely, but as she's getting older, as she's getting more beautiful, I'm seeing, like, how shallow she's becoming. Like, when there was a god who, you know, smiled at her or something, Cosette turned away because he was ugly, and she felt shame. And I was like, that's not the Cosette I know and love. She's being a little mean. Being a little mean as she's going up. Very judgmental. But yeah, massive, massive letter that Marius left. But the fact that he managed to find her after all this time, it's given stalker. It's given Joe from you. I mean, don't get me wrong, this sounds romantic. Like, Marius was something that made a part of Cosette, and Cosette was something which made a part of Marius. Marius felt Cosette within him. It's starting to feel a little bit like Romeo and Juliet as well, because Cosette tells him that Jean Valjean wants to move to England with her, and he was like, if you move to England, I will die. I will die. It's starting to feel a little Bella and Edward from Twilight, Romeo and Juliet. And I understand being able to find love in a hopeless place, as Rihanna once said. It's still something that is being portrayed in a certain way that in this book it just feels a little bit too much. And it feels like it's changing Cosette for the worst. I feel like we could delve into that a little bit more, but I'm not gonna. He's asked Father Gillenormand for his blessing to marry Cosette. And again, I'm like, how long have you known her? Am I the King Triton in this situation? Or the Elsa? You can't marry a man you just met, you know? Oh, speaking of, I have my frozen mug today for my oat milk cappuccino. No syrup. Yeah, and Marius as well. I literally wrote on here as well, because obviously TLC influences my life. He's such a scrub. Like, Marius is a scrub. Cosette says, oh, why don't you come with? And he's like, go away with you? Are you mad? Why, I should have to have money, and I have none. Go to England, but I'm in debt now. I don't know how much. He's a literal scrub. And Cosette don't want no scrub. A scrub is a man who can get no love from Cosette. Although she does still want the scrub. I don't think she has much of a choice, though. Also, like, isn't this supposed to be like a kind of tragic love story with Eponine as well? Eponine has been briefly shown, and she has shown love towards her father and stuff, and she's done like little bits and bobs, but we haven't seen enough of Eponine and her love for Marius. Like, was that something that was just fabricated for the musical? Because I seem to remember that she pines for Marius, and he doesn't love her back. And that's when she's like, on my own, pretending he's beside me. You know, like that. I'm not getting any of that in the actual novel. Unless we get a little bit more of Eponine moving forward. Unless I've totally missed something as well. Maybe I've missed a whole section of her pining after Marius. But I haven't felt it. Oh, I actually did find a really nice section with Cosette as well. This was on 556. So this was before the whole Marius scrub came into her life. And it's when she's talking to Jean Valjean, and she's like, then why is there a fire in my rooms and everything that is needed? And he says, because you're a woman and a child. But men must be cold and feel uncomfortable. And he said, certain men. She says, that is good. I shall come here so often that you will be obliged to have a fire. So she realizes Jean Valjean is like freezing cold. He doesn't have a fire on and stuff. But if she's there, he will have a fire because she's there. So she's also like, Father, why do you eat horrible bread like that? Because, my daughter, well, if you eat it, I will eat it too. Then, in order to prevent Cosette eating black bread, Jean Valjean ate white bread. So I love the fact that she realizes what he is doing and how she can make him and force him to have some luxury for himself, because he is like being quite selfless in that he's trying not to have any luxuries for himself. He probably feels like he doesn't deserve it that much, but he just absolutely freaking loves and idolizes Cosette. Like, the happiness that he has on his face whenever she wants to go on a walk with him or spend time with him, he is just overcome with joy. And that is just so beautiful to me. I've seen what that man has been through, and he deserves happiness. So yeah, also one last thing as well, Javert, he is being caught, and I have to respect this as well. The people who caught him were like, oh, we will, you know, shoot you later. And he's like, well, why not do it now? Why not do it now? And they're like, oh, well, we need to preserve gunpowder. He's like, well, use a knife then. I love the fact that Javert is literally like, just kill us now. Like, seriously, what are you playing at? Like, why are we playing these games? So I have to respect her there a little bit. Like, I'm starting to actually like him. I'm actually, like, kind of liking him as a character, not as a person, but as a character. I do like him as a character. Anyway, I feel like that's probably all I have to say. I'm kind of dreading reading more of, like, the stuff at the barricades. Let's see how far we get today. Potentially the penultimate day of this challenge. And then we only have one day more to read Les Misérables. To think this time last week I was on page 0. It is once again the arse crack of dawn. And I have actually been up for the last 2 hours. I tried to sleep. I went to bed at midnight. By 4 a.m, I was like, it ain't working. Something's got to give. And I've been awake since. And look, it's just been a very weird week. This is, after all, the taint of Christmas. The period between Christmas and New Year. Which actually one of my members in my members reading sprints the other day mentioned for the first time. And I was like, I'm stealing that. I want to be calling this period of time the Christmas taint. I think it's just because of that, because like, why else am I awake other than the fact that I read a couple of really traumatizing death scenes in this yesterday, oh my gosh, yesterday was Sunday. I haven't been to sleep yet, so again, like it feels like the same day, but yesterday was Sunday, and I am now on page 813 of Les Mis. And I made such great progress. How much did I read yesterday? I read 114 pages, which means I only have 95 pages left. 95 pages left of Les Mis, and I am done. I am done, and it's been less than a week. So I will finish this today, despite my delirium. It is, yeah, with it being 6 a.m, my gym is open. I would love to go, just to like get some life back into me, because I haven't been in a week, and that might also be why I've been a little bit off this week. But my library doesn't open until 9, and I have books to return, so I kind of want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and like go to the gym but also take the books back. So I'm gonna have to wait. And the sun isn't even going to rise until 8:30 anyway, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is way too early. Anyway, yeah, I was a little bit triggered by Gavroche's death. What do you mean? Like, it was kind of beautiful as well. Like, the way that it was written was kind of beautiful. But, oh my God, so freaking traumatizing. Where in the bloody hell was it? Oh, I was genuinely devastated the way he's just, like, singing. He's just singing. And he's getting shot at. They aimed at him constantly and always missed him. The barricade trembled. He sang. He was not a child. He was not a man. He was a strange gaming fairy. And I was like, hey, this is just more proof that I am Gavroche. Gavin, Gavroche, have you ever seen us in the same room? But he was seen to stagger, then he sank to the earth. The whole barricade gave vent to a cry, but there was something of Antaeus in that pygmy for the gaming. And I'm saying like gaming? Come on. To touch the pavement is the same as for the giant to touch the earth. Gavroche had fallen, only to rise again. And he sang, oh my God. Like, what would I sing in this moment? Maybe a little bit of ABBA. Maybe I would do a little bit of ABBA. Or Celine Dion. Isn't she from France? So maybe I could do a little bit of My Heart Will Go On and then get friggin' shot at the barricades. He did not finish. A second bullet from the same marksman stopped him short. This time he fell face downward on the pavement and moved no more. This grand little soul had taken its flight. Oh, that was so sad. I literally wrote like, oh my God, on that bit, because it was just so sad. It was so sad. Bless, he was just a child. Loved Jean Valjean go into the barricades himself. Like, the fact that he was so angry with Marius and getting the letter off Gavroche, and, you know, the feelings and emotions he went through, thinking he was going to lose Cassette, and then he's just ended up going to the barricades himself, and he is now fighting. And like the last part that I read, again, like we have all of those conveniences again, don't we? The last part I read was, you know, Jean Valjean in the sewers, and Thénardier has given him the key to get out. So that's the last part I read. And yeah, guys, I'm going to be controversial here, and I'm going to say it. I actually didn't think the sewers part was that bad. Like, how bad is that of me to say? But I feel like the reason why I'm saying that is because I expect it from Victor Hugo at this point. I've already been through the trenches of his tangents up to this point. I would be more concerned if there wasn't another tangent coming up. So to get that little bit of a history lesson with the sewer system, honestly, I didn't think it was all that bad. I really didn't. I would have shouted imposter with the second half. I would have thought someone else wrote the end of this novel if he didn't go off on one again. I mean, it was still a lot. I do think it kind of feeds into the idea of there being this like massive underbelly under France, under Paris. And I do like that kind of symmetry with the people above and, you know, all of that going on under it. It really does reflect the working class and all the poor people and the people who are higher. And, you know, I'm trying to produce words that makes sense and means something. But it is hard at this time. It is a little bit hard. Okay, also another death that was quite shocking was Eponine. But I will say, Marius did not give a fuck. He did not give a fuck. Like, I remember the moment earlier on when he met Eponine and he gives her back the like letter thing that she dropped. I remember all of that, but I never remember any kind of romance or even from like Eponine's side of it. I don't get that at all. So it was a little bit jarring to have her death scene and her stopping that bullet for Marius and her pronouncing her love for him. I was just like, he don't know you, girl. Oh, the poor girl though. Poor girl. I do feel bad for her. What a tragic life, being the daughter of Thénardier. The Thénardiers, both of them. And even though she was quite mean to Cosette as well, you know, she was a product of her parents. So I do feel bad there. But yeah, I didn't really feel that much of a connection with Eponine in this book. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if that's controversial to say. I definitely felt more for Gavroche. I liked him a lot more. And so I was more devastated when he died. Oh, I did love that Jean Valjean let Javert go. He had the opportunity to take down Javert, but that was not in Jean Valjean's nature now. You know, like he's had this massive character arc, this massive journey. Javert has been nothing but an absolute pain in his arsehole. And still, he lets him go. And that was really good. That was a great scene. Really great scene. But yeah, not really too much else to say other than 95 pages left and I'm done. I am done. Oh, I'm so excited. So yeah, I am gonna... Well, I still have some time. I could read some more, but at the minute I'm just like, I feel like I've read enough at the minute. I kind of want to wait until it's actual sunlight. Now it's 6:23 a.m. It's still too early. It's still too early to leave the house. Oh, Ash is being so cute right now. Oh, Ash, you are adorable. Yes, Ash, I'm talking about you. You're so cute. You're so adorable. Yes, you are. You're going to come for snuggles. You're going to come for snuggles. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. He's come for snuggles. So I'll probably just watch some more tier rankings on YouTube of people ranking their favourite classics. I've been going down a proper classics rabbit hole recently. I'm telling you. It's going to be my 2026 channel rebrand. Gavin reads all the classics. Yeah, maybe I'll leave in like an hour. Hit the gym for an hour. By the time I'm finished, the library will be open. Can return some books. Check a book out that I need. And then when I come home, I'll be a showering. I'll be a shaving. And then I will be a Les Mising. Monsieur le Maire. I finished. Mark your calendars. This was history being made. History being made. Monday the 29th of December at 2:31 p.m. GMT. I finished Les Misérables by Victor Hugo. Chapter Chaser -F9T. Tell your boyfriend he better pay up. He better pay up. Get that bookcase stat. Monsieur le Maire. It means I can actually change my books read sign as well for the final time in 2025. Come a little bit closer. Come a little bit closer, I'll show you. Let's get rid of the 3-9 on the very unstable legs that it's currently on. Oh, is that one of my cats in the background there as well? Can you see? Tobu? Tobu, is that you? Can you see him? Can you see? Monsieur le Maire? Anyway, that is 240. The last book I will read in 2026. Well, maybe. I might be able to squeeze another one in the next couple of days. We'll see how kinky I'm feeling. I mean, again, a lot of it was not a surprise to me because, you know, I've seen things. I've seen things, unfortunately. But gosh, it just hits totally different when I feel like I've been with these characters for such a long time that when things get wrapped up, like I'm happy for some and so devastated for others. I actually kind of love the fact that this book pretty much ends with Jean Valjean's death. Because, like, let's be honest, this was his story. I mean, it's a story of Paris. It's a story of rebellion. It's a story of, you know, so many people. But I think the heart of it was Jean Valjean. And so to have his dying breath and then one tiny little chapter after that was actually very poetic and very nice. Oh, but yeah, I was devastated. I'm so glad he was surrounded by people who loved him. So glad Cassette was there. And I was getting so worried as well because freaking Jean Valjean was starting to act like a diva. He was starting to be like, oh, well, Cassette is getting married now. She has her husband. She doesn't need me anymore. And he's like being weird and shit. No, I was not having it. I was not having him pushing Cassette away. I can understand why he did. I can understand a lot of things. Like that poor man, if only he had therapy. The trauma that he went through, genuinely devastating. His life, you know? Like he had such great moments, but like such low lows. You know, like so many things that were just so unfair. Oh, but yeah, freaking enjoyed the last 95 pages that I read. I see not really a whole lot more to say without like repeating myself, other than Javert as well, because like it's just tragedy after tragedy. In Javert, I will say, I think out of every single character, he was probably the most interesting because yeah, when his world gets turned upside down and we have his entire section where he is questioning his beliefs, and you can really see the strain on him, and he's gazing into the black water, and yeah, it's all black, nothing was to be distinguished, just like his mind. Just like his mind. Jean Valjean was the load which weighed upon his spirit. This man is forever a prisoner of the law may do with him what it will. What could be more just? Javert had said all this to himself. He had wished to pass beyond, to act, to apprehend the man, and then, as at present, he had not been able to do it. His supreme anguish was the loss of certainty. He felt that he'd been uprooted. I felt for the man. And again, like, there's some things that I disagree with that he's done, absolutely. Definitely haven't liked him for the majority of this book, but I will say that that man stood by what he thought was right, and to see all of that get totally pulled out from under him in his last moments it was so fascinating to read. He was forced to acknowledge that goodness did exist. This convict had been good. And he himself, unprecedented circumstance, had just been good also, so he was becoming depraved. He found that he was a coward. He conceived a horror of himself. Javert's ideal was not to be human, to be grand, to be sublime. It was to be irreproachable. Now he had just failed in this. The feeling of failure from this man who was just being like this upstanding man of the law, despite all the faults that comes with that. He is questioning himself. He had centered nearly all his religion in the police. Literally, he had a superior, Gisquet. Up to that day, he had never dreamed of that other superior god, this new chief god. Oh, but how was he set about handing his resignation to God? He no longer understood himself. There were so many quotes from this entire section with Javert that honestly, I could just dissect, I could talk about, I could analyze. I loved it. I loved seeing a character who was stood by a certain ideal and he believed in certain things, just seeing that completely unravel and what that does to him. And I was feeling rather upset for him. I felt bad for him in the end. I don't know what that says about me, but like, seriously, I was just utterly enthralled by what was going on in his head and how confused he was, all of that. Oh my God, that was probably like my favorite part of the last section of this book. I'm not gonna lie. Because yeah, even though I do like seeing Marius and Cosette, you know, marrying and be happy together, honestly, probably one of my least favourite parts of the Les Mis book, I'm not gonna lie, is their romance. I don't really care for it that much. I do want Cosette to be happy, and in the end, Marius didn't annoy me as much, even though he was like still against, you know, Jean Valjean for quite some time until he remembered at the end there who helped him in the sewers and stuff. So like, he does owe Jean Valjean so much, and he does rectify that at the end. So I do like him for that. And yeah, oh my God, it tore me. It tore me apart. It tore me a new one. And yeah, I got really upset and emotional during a lot of those last sections, just like I did in some of the sections before, because god damn, this is tragic. this is so tragic. But also, yeah, just a really great story on human resilience and like how kindness can really affect people, and how if you give people certain chances, they can, you know, spread that kindness, you know, further on. And again, like going back to that bishop at the very start, if he never showed Jean Valjean all of that kindness and all of that warmth, like what would have happened to Fantine and Cosette? And, you know, like, oh my gosh, it's just like amazing to think of like all of the webs and threads of the storylines and the characters and how all of that just intersected. And I mean, definitely like quite a lot to think about. There's just so much in this book, so much packed into this book. I could not begin to talk about everything cohesively in one vlog. Seriously, like it would take multiple. It would take breaking down chapters, breaking down all these different tangents that Hugo goes on and stuff like that. So like saying that though, I will say I will give this one, I'm really debating either a 4 or a 4.5. I'm not 100% sure what I want to give this. The reason why I'm saying a 4 and not a 4.5 is because there are so many massive sections of this book where I was rather bored. And if I was to ever reread this book, I would only read the chapters that really focused on the character. Again, I do understand the importance of the backdrop and all of that in the context. I understand. And now that I've read it, I don't feel like I need to read those parts again. Definitely read it if you're reading for the first time. I would say, you know, you might still take something from it. So still read those parts. But yeah, the fact that there are massive chunks of this that I would actively cut out myself, like upon a reread, it isn't perfect. It isn't a 5-star for me. It was great. I will remember so much from this. And it got me, which is why I'm also debating a 4.5, because when I think of how connected I was to the characters and how much I felt for them and how well written this was and all of that, I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? This is really tough. This is actually really tough. This is like my first massive classic in, I want to say, like over 10 years. I think the last massive classic that I read was Vanity Fair. I believe it was Vanity Fair when I was at uni, and that would have been, I want to say, like 2016. So it has been, yeah, like 10 years pretty much since I last read a massive classic. I mean, I've read massive books before. I've read Stephen King, a lot of Stephen King. Some of those books are like 1,000 pages. But like for a classic though, oh, this was exhilarating. Absolutely exhilarating. Reminds me why I love reading. I cannot wait to read more. I don't want to rebrand my channel. Absolutely not. But I would like to read more classics and dive into a lot more of them. And maybe do like more big classics too. I have my eye on the Count of Monte Cristo next. And I may or may not do that in the next few months. I don't know. I don't want to promise anything. But like, yeah. I'm just so excited. It's made me so excited. I loved it. But there are definitely things that weigh it down. But I loved it. But it's not perfect, you know? So, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed my reading vlog for reading Les Misérables for the very first time. And in under a week as well, I might add. Still 2 days left of 2025. And I said I wanted to read this by the end of 2025. And by George, did I do that. So pat on the back. Pat on the back for moi. And I'm going to be saying Monsieur le Maire for like the next year and a half. I'm going to be so annoying with that. I do apologize. But anyway, yeah, please do like this video again if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. Join my channel memberships if you would like more content. Leave all the comments down below as well. Let me know what you thought of Les Misérables. Let me know what you thought of the vlog. Did you have any characters, sections, scenes that you absolutely love? Anything you agree or disagree with me on? Absolutely sound off down below. I would love to chat to you. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Monsieur le Maire.